feel.
Coach Spencer was talking a lot about just the effort needed. It seemed like on defense that may have been one of the areas to kind of point to some of the.
Yeah, I think early in the game, a lot of things were going our way. Effort was really good, and then as things went on, some adversity struck, and we found a few guys that need to move in the right direction in that category. So a lot of focus today in practice went to effort to the football, maximum effort for as many plays as we can get. But there was definitely a few times out there where guys were not running full speed to the football, and we need to find out, when things go our way, it's easy. When things don't go your way, life gets a little more challenging, and we need to find out, which guys are all in. And not to say that there's any that we're pushing to the side, but we need to help those guys get to the standard that Boise State has had for a long time, and all that falls directly on me as the defensive coordinator. So those are things that I need to get corrected this week.
I know at least one of the plays kind of went viral with the line kind of, maybe not hustling full speed after the ball. But Coach said there was other plays too. I mean, how surprising is that? I guess in a week one to have to deal with that. Talk about that.
I think in week one is usually it's not surprising. You would like it to not be that way, but week one is where you go from camp and practice to actually competing in the game. And there's some guys that haven't played a ton of football, at Boise State, or a ton of football in a game setting. And sometimes it's the person, sometimes it's the stage, sometimes it's the first game, but things reveal themselves quickly when the bright lights turn on, and it's our job as coaches to get those things corrected and get those guys moving in the right direction.
You said a few reasons why effort might not be there, but just the collective, I guess. Why do you think the effort wasn't where it needed to be?
I think once again, there's a lot of guys out there playing really, really hard. There's a good chunk of the game where their effort was great. But you kind of saw where it happened, right? You saw where a little adversity struck us, and we all want to do our job to the best of our ability, and especially when everybody's telling you how great you are and things are going good and the fans are cheering and people are liking on Twitter and those kind of things, right? And then when things get challenging, sometimes it's up to the coaches, sometimes it's up to the leaders on the team to get those people, that aren't used to that or need to get through that. Everybody needs to get picked up a little bit now and then, but we need to get those guys going in the right direction. And like you said, there's probably a clip that went viral. That wasn't the only guy, and there's other times when those people made great plays. So it's not like, hey, we're done with the person, or let's not cast the blame on one person. Let's put a net on the effort for the Boise State football team, for the Boise State defense needs to get better. And once again, like I said, that's my job. It's on me.
You look at some of the recent nickels that have played here, and whether Two's played it at one point, obviously Shea, Rod, Kikau, Canino, all these guys have a little bit of an edge to them, I guess. There's some intangibles to them. What makes a good? What does that position require, I guess, to bring out the best?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, Jay. I think at that position, there's a lot of different skill sets, and then we have to figure out what's the best skill set for that person. And not that we're going to change the whole defense because of one person, but there's tools in our toolbox that we can use more. And all those guys that you mentioned had a little different toolbox. But the one thing they all had in common is they all played with extremely, extremely high effort. They were great team guys. They threw their bodies around. They were great practice players. But what are you, a coverage guy? Are you a man guy? Are you a zone guy? Are you a blitzer? Are you a run fit guy? Are you a guy that needs to get out of there and get somebody else in the run fit? So there's a lot of different things that go into the nickel, and that's kind of our job. We figure out what they can do the best, and then how do we kind of tailor the plan around them.
So listed super versatile position or whatever, that could be a number of different things for you.
Super versatile position.
How bad does your defense also need that? I mean, Shea led the freaking country in sacks per DB last year, right? So how bad does your defense kind of need that?
Yeah, I think year to year you can showcase different pieces, but when you have a great nickel, it makes life a lot easier. And I think we got great ones. We just got to get it out of them.
had, or on the depth chart for Mickey or Banks, I think Mickey only got 1 snap. Is that battle just not that close to in camp, or how do you kind of look at that?
No, it was, and Jaden Mickey's earned the right to play football. We need to play him some more. It just, as the game went on, it was bang bang at the beginning. It was going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and sometimes you don't want to upset the apple cart, but on the other hand, sometimes you need to stick with the plan and just rotate that thing. So Jaden Mickey's earned the right to play football, and he needs to play more football for Boise State.
Tackling had been a point of emphasis for you guys during the fall camp. From what you saw on Thursday, do you still have a ways to go on that?
Oh, absolutely. We got a ways to go. The good news is we tackled well on the ball carriers on the perimeter in the box, and then you guys all watched the game. We did not tackle well when the quarterback took off, and some of the things that happened team-wide was when those balls went to the perimeter to receivers in the box, we were targeting low, we were wrapping up, we were grabbing a body part. When the quarterback got loose, he's a big, fast guy, we all know that. There was a lot of targeting high and reaching instead of putting our body on those people, wrapping them up and driving our legs. So we've got to constantly keep working that in practice, and we've got to find some ways to get live tackles. It's not fun. It's not what people standard practice in the middle of the season to get a bunch more live tackles, but we've got to find some way to get some live shots because we still do have a ways to go in tackling.
How good did Braxton Feely play on Thursday?
Yeah, I'd have to look back, which is weird because I know I've been with him, but he may have played one of his better games. Just snap to production value. He was physically dominant. To be honest with you, I thought the whole front was pretty physical out there, but Braxton played a really, really good football game.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the kind of the front, like especially some depth. It was kind of a big question mark for your defense. But I mean, for game 1, how do you think that? I mean, Latu. I mean, some of those guys seem to be playing pretty well for you.
Yeah, I think there was some definite bright spots. Some guys we need to improve yet, but they got in there. They operated. They showed that they belong. So the future's bright with those younger guys, and then also the immediate's bright too, because I really feel like we have a really good front. I feel like we can be physical. We can operate out there. We can get some production, and I think those guys are still going to get better and better as the year goes on.
I know we talked about limiting the explosive passing plays, and they had 2 big ones there. I think they had, count one of those runs, like almost 40% of their yards on 3 plays. I mean, how frustrating is that, I guess? Because you did, in some part, a good chunk of the game, did pretty good limiting their offense.
Yeah, very frustrating. Once again, the explosive pass plays, not for 1 second a lack of talent or ability, because we have really talented players. We have really good people in this building. They could cover those guys. There was a lack of communication on both explosive plays, and once again, that falls on me. If there's something that is not understood or maybe it's been gone over, but they don't completely understand it, or it's been missed a couple times, that's on me, okay? And so there's 2 explosive pass plays out there with lack of communication, not for lack of talent or effort on those, and those are on me.
Those 4 sacks that you had are roughly the pace you guys had last year. So when you look for things on the defense to improve, where's that a good starting spot to build around?
Yeah, I think that's a good starting spot. The thing that was good about those sacks was a lot of the sacks last year were generated off pressure, and a lot of the getting to the quarterback on Thursday night were just 4-man rushes. We may have had an add-in from a linebacker or something. We had the first one was definite pressure, but it's nice to see us being able to get to the quarterback with 4 guys. So I think that the pass rush is healthy. I think those guys really understand how to rush the quarterback, and for the most part, we understand how to cage the quarterback. And obviously, you guys were all there. The one time we did not cage the quarterback, it was very dramatic for our defense. So that's got to improve a little bit. We've just got to understand where we fit in the puzzle when we're either running line games and or pressures.
Erik, that seems like a silly question, especially maybe about a 5th-year senior, but I know you want your guys out there to be confident and do whatever it takes for them to be confident, but what is the limit in terms of talking and picking up personal fouls that hurt your team, and I guess what are the consequences for that potentially?
Yeah, post whistle penalties, you know, there's going to be penalties in the game. There's going to be a PI. There's going to be a, you know, whatever within the course of the game. Post whistle penalties cannot happen and will not be acceptable. And from here on out, it will just be emotionless. If you have a post whistle penalty, you will come out of the football game. Not to say that you're going to be done for the game, but you're going to come out. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to evaluate where you're at with your headspace, and then we can get you back in the football game. But those kind of penalties hurt the football team. They hurt that person individually. They have a huge impact. So there can't be emotion in that. Can't be like, oh, well, you know, I really like so on and so forth. So it doesn't matter who it is. If it's our captain, if it's Marco, he's got to come out of the football game. So that will be the standard moving forward.
On the one with Banks, you know, Spencer said he shouldn't have played the next play, and he should have come out after his. How hard is that when you're in the heat of the moment about to sack the guy and the whistle blows? I mean, is that harder than maybe it looks to the fan when you keep taking the guy to the ground like that, or?
Yeah, it's hard, but we have to understand as defensive players, there's one guy that's going to be protected, like he's off limits, and that whistle starts blowing, you just got to let go. Okay. The hard part on that one was like I'm up in the box, I can't hear the whistle. And looking at it, it was a scrum. I don't know who gets called on that penalty. So that's a hard one to kind of make an immediate judgment. Now, the ref probably comes over the sideline and announces a number. But we don't really, it's hard to tell up in the box who had that one. But once again, it's not human nature to let go of the quarterback once you got him. But when the whistle blows, you have to. That's the rules.
How do you see Derek Cantor approaching this game? Obviously, facing his old team, and what do you see from him in the snaps he got on Thursday?
Yeah, Derek's going to be a really good football player. You know, I think that he probably has some knowledge, and he probably doesn't know exactly scheme-wise what they're going to do. He's seen some things that they've done in the spring, but he doesn't know exactly what they're going to do. But he has definite personnel knowledge, and I think that he will be able to know, you know, who's good matchups and who's not. But he's an interesting guy to talk to because he's been there for a year or however long he was there. But that's a good guy to talk to throughout the week just to kind of get a feel for it. And Derek he's gonna grow into a really good football player. He's just got to learn, you know, the way that we practice all the time. And once he does that, I think the sky's the limit for him as well.
I think you got one snap too, so you got it. Is he ready for more snaps like you mentioned with Mickey or not yet?
I think they're in a different place, to be honest with you, BJ. Not talent-wise, but I think Jaden right now is a little bit more mature. He shows in practice that he understands and he can operate out there. Derek's doing a good job. He's coming along. I want to see how he operates this week with another game week. In last week, you know, Jaden's been through, you know, he's at Notre Dame. He knows how to practice in those game weeks. Derek's kind of coming to us fresh, so that was kind of his first run through on a game week practice. I kind of want to see how he operates this week, and if he can show us that he's continuing on that path, then he will earn the right to play some more football as well.
How do you guys respond in practice? I mean, Spencer was pretty fired up and talking about just non-negotiable, the effort and a lot of that. And like you said, you won't play if things happen. I mean, there's a fine line, I guess, to overdoing it too. I mean, how have you noticed the guys respond to kind of the up in intensity, I guess, from you guys?
Yeah, I think, you know, like when you sit back and look at it from 10,000 feet, right? Like we're talking about plays that go viral because of an effort issue or something like that. And like I don't look at Twitter because it's not good for my health, right? Like that's just, it's not going to do me any good. But these guys do, right? These guys do, and they get enough of it. So like just as I think Jay meant, maybe as you BJ had mentioned it, like we're showing it the other day, right? Like we had 24 run plays for 17 yards and then 4 for 90. You know, so the guys understand there's 20 pass plays for 57 yards and then 4 for 153. Those guys understand and think now, like here's who you could be, but you've also shown we might be these people. Time to make a choice, right? And I think they made that choice today. So I was fired up as well. We went out there, you know, we said we're going to run to the ball, and we held the whistle pretty late. So we were getting guys flying to the rock. Not to say practice was perfect, because it never is, but we got a lot of guys running to the football, and we had a lot of the leaders stepping up, telling guys it's mandatory to run to the football if you want to be on the field with us. So that was very encouraging for us. because the bottom line is like nobody wanted what happened on Thursday night. Nobody, not me, not our head coach, not the players, but everything we want still in front of us. And so there's a lot to grow in. There's a lot for these guys at the end of the yellow brick road here.
Full speed tackling, Chins in practice today, was that your suggestion to Spencer? Did Spencer come on and was it more of an effort thing you were saying, the lack of tackling, but was there fundamentally just missed tackles too?
No, I think that, you know, Coach D, he's got to be the head coach, so he's got to make a few more rational decisions. Fall camp, I'm like, let's tackle every period, every time, because it's weird, right? Because like, if you're playing quarterback, right, and you never get to throw the ball once in practice, like you're probably not going to be very good. Then you got to play defense, and you never get to tackle one time in practice. So to me, it's like let's tackle all the time, but the head coach has to make decisions. We have to keep people healthy, right? He has to keep me in check, and I'm glad he's there to do that, because I would just be like, let's smash everybody every day. So today we all sat in the staff meeting. We decided we needed some of those full speed tackles. We're going to need some full speed. They don't always have to be the space tackles today, but we're going to need some of those full speed tackles, and we can get a lot of work where we can say, hey, you know, Ty Benefield, you're getting one shot versus X player. You know, Jeremiah Irby, you're getting one shot. So we get everybody a full speed tackle, but we don't overdo it and get people hurt.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys.